Hello and welcome to another episode of the To Baldly Go podcast, and thank you for joining me on my mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to baldly go where so many have gone before. My name is Aaron, and I am watching Star Trek for the first time from the beginning, then discussing with my wife Abby and our friend Nate. This week, we are returning to Star Trek The Next Generation with the final 4 episodes of Season 2, Manhunt, The Emissary, Peak Performance, and Shades of Grey. We also give our closing thoughts on Season 2 as a whole. Now, make it so.
Anyway, all right, I'm good.
So, should we talk about some Star Trek?
We should.
Star
All
Trek.
right. 4 episodes tonight and kind of a Season 2 wrap-up. So we're starting with episode 19. In her search for the perfect mate, Troy's mother beams aboard the Enterprise and sets her sights on Captain Picard in Manhunt. So, looking at the transcript of it here, they got the captain's log line, but then the first thing in the parentheses kind of explaining what's going on in the transporter room, Picard is in dress uniform, showing off his calves.
Hell yeah.
Thought that was funny.
Episodes in a
And
row where we compliment somebody on their calves.
and my first note was Picard is wearing a dress
It is a dress
because
uniform.
it was kind of a dress. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on this episode? What's your score?
Who are you directing that at?
Yep.
I think Aaron should give his first.
Okay.
Aaron, you
All
go
right.
first. And we'll tell you ours after for these next 4, because I really want to know yours without any other indications.
So I did not take many notes on this episode. It was silly, but it worked. It was a fun episode, just start to finish. All of it was fun. I gave it a 7. I thought it was a good episode. Wasn't great, wasn't like off the charts or anything, but I'm calling it good. It was fun, it was silly. There were some funny interactions between Riker and Lwaxana and Picard and Lwaxana. It was just a perfectly enjoyable episode. So yeah, I gave it a 7.
Okay.
Nate?
Let me ask you this question before I
Mhm.
jump into it, which is, and this might be the charm of the episode, and maybe that tips my hand a little bit for where I'm going to go. But given the title of the episode and the premise of the episode, is this where you expected to go? Oh, I'm going to watch an episode called Manhunt.
No,
You expected.
Um,
you're thinking more like the show Manhunter.
Or just like
no, I
some kind of you're chasing down a criminal or,
Right.
something like that, right?
so
Nice play on words.
what I've done now, I already went through. So in the past, I was taking notes in a notebook, and now I've shifted. I'm doing more taking notes in OneNote, whether I'm watching it, just taking notes on my phone or just on my computer.
Yep.
And the last handful of episodes I've gone in, I've written down since I read off the Paramount Plus description. I wrote down all the episode titles, and I'm going to do my best to just avoid that description. So, reading the description, knowing that Troy's mother was on there, I guess I didn't put much thought into the episode, but didn't really think it was going to be some like hunting down a criminal. Um, so, I guess in that regard, it didn't really surprise me that it went that direction. I don't know. I don't know if I would have predicted that was the direction it was going to go, having a Dixon Hill episode. But at the same time, when that happened, it was like, oh yeah, this, why not?
Sure.
Was kind of how I felt about it.
Just
But
throw it all out there. Let's see what we can do.
right. And I thought it was funny. Abby made the point because we watched this one together. Abby made the point how Picard was reacting as Dixon Hill, knowing what had happened in previous episodes. So he was kind of like not wanting to get shot again.
Yeah. Ducking under
And
his
so,
desk.
and so, again, kind of cool seeing that these episodes are less in a vacuum than, say, original series episodes, which almost never had reference to anything else that had ever happened.
Yep. So I forgot what this episode was about. So as we're getting into it, I keep going, okay, so
Beta
where's the
said menopause.
yeah, where's the manhunt? I'm confused. And then somewhere along the line I went, oh yeah, now I get it. It's just so funny considering I watched this episode many, many times, as I think I say every single week. But um yeah, I would say by and large, I thought this is a very good episode. I gave it a 6. I think it was fun. I think it was entertaining. It wasn't deep in the least,
No.
right? It was just, it was a really, really good character episode for a bunch of different people, right? And I really, every time I watch one of these, I really want to hate Lwaxana, and then I just can't bring myself to hate her because Majel Barrett plays that character so well, and she's so funny, and she puts so many different like layers of character into it.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't. It's you can't hate it. It's fun to watch her do it.
She's an irritating character that you can't hate. Like you said, you just can't hate watching her.
Yep.
She's
Totally.
over the top, but not so over the top that it's bad. Or maybe she is just so over the top that it's good.
Yeah.
No,
Where
it's embarrassing. It's just like watching, why do you like the episode of The Office so much, Phyllis's Wedding, where it's just
right.
so awkward to watch that imagining living in that, you're just like, I want to go in that episode and strangle them to save everyone the embarrassment of what is happening. That's the appeal. It's a type of episode. It's a type of show that is
Yeah.
commonly done, and it usually has to be one off, so it gets too annoying, right? Or it's a sitcom movie that does it, or something like that. But it's or a chick flick. But that's why it appeals. It gives that flavor of The Office awkward situation like that.
So I wrote down a question not very far into this episode, which was, is Lwaxana the OG boomer? Because she's kind of a boomer in this episode.
When do you say that?
She expects everyone to bend over backwards for her. She is kind of like front and center. She's everything that kind of
Do we need to
epitomizes.
ask how work is going for you?
I think
Do
this
we need
is
to be worried about your personal life here, Nate? And the boomers involved in it? If they're that front in your mind.
I don't think I work with any boomers. Now I have to think about that. Most of the people are my age. What does that say about me? I don't know. But
Boomer adjacent.
so that you see all these memes of of that kind of personality, and she's kind of it. Like she fits that.
Karens.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a thing.
I have always thought this episode was hilarious. So I actually ranked it higher than you guys. I gave it an 8. Actually, I probably even got higher if you guys hadn't like shat on it with your scores. I was influenced to go lower because I just found it an overall enjoyable episode.
You can go higher. I
The
don't
dialogue was crazy funny. You've got all these characters just doing all these ridiculous things that are just so their characters, though. You're talking, start at the very beginning of the episode with the vermicula, the fish, food, whatever, they're like, they eat these
Antedians.
things. Yeah, the Antedians' food. And Wes is like, they eat this, and Pulaski's in great quantities, Worf. what a handsome race.
I know
I mean,
Worf is great in this
it's
episode.
just got these great comments all the way through it. And then how Picard manages to get Data into the, like, just bore the snot out of the Lwaxana while she's going after him. You've got Riker's facial expressions were fantastic when he's explaining the menopause to Picard, and Troy's just like,
Or more.
"What?"
Or
Right.
more?
You didn't tell me that. I mean, it was just so funny. You've got the nonverbal communications, which are great, the telepathic stuff. And I legitimately think the best part of this episode was the very end where she just off the cuff
Oh, so good.
goes, "You're not delegates." Like, just like not even like telling
Yeah.
them this. She's just
Didn't
calling them
even
out like,
bother her
"Ah,
either.
like you are not worthy to be on my transporter. You're just assassins." That's a lie. Beam us down now. We demand you transport at once. Don't bother to deny it. Your minds are so unsophisticated. I can read your thoughts in my sleep. Their roads are lined with ultrium. Highly explosive, virtually undetectable by your transporter. And then just the shock on O'Brien and everyone's face, like, she's right. She might be crazy, but she's right. Like, oh God, it was so good. And she always
I
ends
did
in
love
these.
that end scene.
It
That
it
was
was it was so great. It was so fitting for the episode. If they were to a lot of episodes, if they were to just tie it up like that, just would not work. But this one was so just in a way ridiculous that that ending was, I don't know if there could have been a better ending
no.
than that. Being so nonchalant about how, oh yeah, they're not who they say they are. They're assassins. They were trying to blow up the entire conference.
Especially considering the fact that if you'd not thrown that detail in at the very end, that was an
Those things
entirely
served no
throwaway B
purpose.
plot. Yeah,
Yep.
it just was there.
And it was one I even said to Abby when it ended that, like, so often these A and B plots, sometimes they don't have anything to do with each other and it really doesn't work. But again, this time it was just, I was just, what better way to wrap up that particular storyline on this particular episode? Any other episode probably wouldn't work. But this one, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked when Lwaxana was talking to the computer. I thought that was funny.
Yes. Uh,
And
Talking herself
and
effective.
and
Like
going back to the scene when Troy was explaining what was going on to Picard, and Troy says she's decided to focus all of her sexual energy on one male who will, of course, eventually become her husband. It seems, Captain, that you are the early favorite. And Riker, congratulations, sir. Just just
yeah,
again,
Riker just leans in.
so good. And I'm not amused, number one. Just
Oh my gosh.
just all of it hit, like, all of those characters so well. Like, all of this discussion, Picard being so uncomfortable and just saying, "I'm not amused," number one, is just just right.
I laughed really hard too at Mr. Hom going full Animal House John Belushi on Picard. Picard shows up with a nice bottle of something, and he's just like, it's gone. Like John Belushi does with a bottle of Jack in that movie. Just throws it back. No big deal. Where are the others? There are no others, just you. Like,
Right.
are you not joining us for dinner? Well, thank you, Captain. I already ate. What is going on? And the poor guy has to sit through dinner with some of the worst table settings I think I've ever seen.
Oh, don't forget when he brings the bottle of wine and Mr. Holm downs it awkwardly in front of him,
Hmm.
like drip, dry,
Well,
drip,
John
dry, drip.
Belushi.
It was so
Hmm.
good. It was so good. I did notice, I've never noticed this before, the context they put on the Lwaxana and Deanna.
Yeah, in the
Like
early
they made her
60s.
eyes look super like alien-esque, like very dark black. Aaron said it looked kind of like Underworld a little bit without
Yep.
the rim because it
I
didn't go
said
all
they
the way
weren't as
around,
big as the ones in Underworld
but
that
it's
like
same
covered the
concept.
whole
They
eye.
they definitely were noticeable. Maybe it's
I
the big
don't
screen TVs now, but
I don't remember when Troy stops wearing those. It happens eventually. But that's just a thing that they
I
just
wouldn't have
stopped
noticed
doing.
it on Troi because hers weren't as big as
Her eyes are very
Lwaxana's.
dark to begin with, right?
Correct. So I wouldn't have necessarily known with her if Aaron hadn't pointed out that Troi has it too. But I definitely noticed it with Lwaxana because her eyes are so big and it was huge and they were black. It was like, oh, she has alien looking eyes. That's a really cool
I,
concept to do.
I wonder if that's a deliberate difference because of isn't Troy half human?
Yes,
Probably.
could be
So I
that.
wonder
Maybe
if that's a
they bought
deliberate
some,
difference to have hers
like a
smaller.
bigger on Majel and
Yeah.
smaller Marina.
Hmm.
If that's possible, I've never seen really any trivia that talks about that. I just know that Marina didn't like wearing them, and so they kind of gradually just phased them out.
Yeah. So I don't have a whole lot more on this episode. I enjoyed it. It was fun. Like you said though, there wasn't a whole lot of depth to it. And so when I take my kind of bullet point notes for quotes and moments during the episode, I've got all those, but my kind of wrap up to it was fun episode, silly, but it worked. And
Yeah.
that's all I really had as my thoughts on it. It was fun, it was goofy, it was just an enjoyable episode.
I mean,
Uh
the only thing I kind of had left was, I mean, I liked how they did the holodeck portion of the episode,
mhm.
right? To your point where, he's hiding under the desk and things like that. Um, when he walks in and he talks to Madeline, she's like, "Oh, you behave like you haven't seen me in a year." Um, and that's about how long it's been since he's, done one of these holodeck episodes.
Right.
Um, Data walks in and he's Carlos from South America, right? From the episode where they're playing. Oh no, it was another one of these. I was thinking the Sherlock Holmes episodes, but he played Sherlock Holmes. But yeah, in previous ones, he was, played some guy from South America to
Mhm.
explain his skin color. Made no sense. Um, Lwaxana not realizing apparently what a holodeck is, and saying that she's surprised the captain lets this part of the ship get so dirty. Um, and then falling in love with the bartender because she can't read him. So he's so mysterious to her. All of that I thought was just really fun.
Yep.
It's very funny. The fact that they left the Antedians in the transporter room for the entire damn episode, just about, at first is to me was like, you don't want to move them somewhere, and then it just by the end it was so funny that I didn't
Hmm.
care anymore. I was just standing there.
Hmm.
So
All
those
right.
are the
Yeah.
high levels of my notes.
Okay. So I asked ChatGPT to write us some quiz questions. If you want to try these out.
Hmm.
And we'll
All right.
see how good ChatGPT is on these. Okay.
Yep.
What is the main reason for Lwaxana Troi's visit to the Enterprise in this episode?
To find a mate. Oh, was I supposed to ring in my name first?
And it's still incorrect.
Oh, okay.
Aaron, do you want to pick up your
Wasn't
question?
wasn't she supposed to go to like the delegation or yeah,
Diplomatic
diplomatic.
negotiation.
Yeah.
I don't know if I,
Because she was going to the same place as the Antedians,
but I
but
thought she
just
got
because
that
she had
status.
ulterior motives
But what was her
doesn't change
primary
that that's
motive?
what she was doing.
So I would argue she was trying to get on the Enterprise to do this, and she used the
I'm right. I win Star Trek, you lose.
whatever. I think it's wrong, but whatever.
Okay, fine. You can be wrong. We already know the answers to these one, but which crew member does Lwaxana Troi particularly pursue in her quest for companionship?
Aaron.
Yes.
I mean, starts with Picard and then switches to Riker, but
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
What is a unique trait of the Lwaxana species that influences her behavior in this episode? You know this, Nate. What do Betazoids have?
Yeah, it's the God, what is it called? Did I write it down?
You're overthinking it.
Well, it's menopause,
No,
basically.
but what do the Betazoids have as a trait?
Oh,
Telepathy.
yeah,
Telepathy. Yeah.
And then my mind immediately went telekinesis, and then on that's just
Um, okay, I don't remember this in the episode. Maybe I don't remember this, but it says what unusual event occurs aboard the Enterprise during the Lwaxana's visit? And the four options are a warp core breach,
nope,
a disease outbreak,
nope,
the crew is placed in a time loop,
nope,
and a fleet of Romulan ships approach.
nope.
So I think Manhunt was an episode from the original series, wasn't it?
I don't know that it was.
Well, ChatGPT got real confused by that because
Well,
it thinks the Romulans attacked in the middle of the episode.
I mean, it does hallucinate, so
It does.
I have frequently had to kick it in the rear end and tell it to try again. And it apologizes profusely and then usually screws up anyway. So, um, yeah, that didn't happen. None of those.
Mm-mm.
All right. So they say, oh, this is the question that you were looking for, Nate, and you didn't know the answer to. What is the name of the Betazoid condition
Yeah, I can't.
that Lwaxana Troi is participating in, or like what tradition it would be? And it's the time of mating. That's what ChatGPT says.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't understand this one. Which character helps Lwaxana Troi in her pursuit of a mate?
Mr. Holm.
That's not an option. They're saying it was
Nope.
Data.
Beyond.
Oh, ChatGPT, did you
Well,
watch the episode? Data was the
in a way,
blocker there.
Data was trying. Because I had the quote somewhere. Hold on. Said because yeah, Data was trying to help. Because yeah, he said, Captain, perhaps I should remain and further entertain our guest.
Oh
He
yeah.
was like, no. I mean, I'm sure
Uh,
you're needed on the bridge.
which character offers comedic relief in the episode?
So many of them.
Riker, Data, or Geordi? Like their only point in the episode was to be comedic
Well,
relief.
Jordy wasn't in the episode,
Yep.
so can't be him. Worf was pretty funny. Riker was pretty funny. Data was pretty funny.
They're saying Worf was the
I'd,
comedic relief because they didn't do anything else other than just be there for jokes.
but Data wasn't really there for anything other than
right.
his style of humor, right?
Listen, ChatGPT doesn't value androids. What can I tell you?
And clearly not.
It doesn't like AI. So it's prejudice, clearly.
All right, I
Data,
got
you
one
will
for
never know
Aaron.
just how much I owe you for that. Indeed, Captain. I know many more interesting anecdotes, sir. For example, Data. Sir? Later. Yes, sir.
I got one for you though, Aaron.
Okay.
Did you notice the special appearance by in the episode?
Like in the credits?
In the opening credits, and
Opening credits?
it still showed up even if you hit skip intro.
Yeah.
That special appearance by, and not
I'm drawing a blank.
and we're not talking about Pulaski because that's how she's credited throughout the
Hmm.
season as, special appearance by Diana Muldaur. It says in the very beginning, after the opening credits, special appearance by Mick Fleetwood.
Hmm.
Do you know what character Mick Fleetwood played in this episode?
No.
He was in it several times.
Yeah.
Mhm.
See one of the Antedians?
He sure was.
Nice.
Apparently, a huge Star Trek fan, wanted to be in the show, so
Fun.
he took an opportunity.
Yeah.
Shaved his
I've
beard and everything to get into
I've
that
not really, I can't say I've listened to a whole lot of Fleetwood Mac, but
They've
yeah,
got some
it's
bangers.
fun. I like some I like that kind of stuff. That's awesome. Anything else for this episode or should we move on?
Let's see. I think we hit on most of the trivia. So it talks about Lwaxana talking to the computer, Picard on the holodeck with Madeline, Mick Fleetwood is one of the very few times Picard calls Deanna by her first name.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's it. There wasn't much trivia for this episode anyway, so probably why
Hmm.
ChatGPT struggled so much.
Yeah. All
All right,
right. Well, we can
let's go on.
put that one behind us and move on to the next episode. An official mission becomes a personal matter when Worf's former lover is sent to the Enterprise to mediate a dispute between Klingons and the Federation in episode 20, The Emissary.
Hold, please. They were not lovers before. They never said that. They didn't mate until the episode. Am I wrong on that?
It is heavily implied that they haven't, but
Right.
never directly said one way or the other.
Like they were too, like they didn't, because they said comments about not being brave enough to even try the relationship kind of thing. So they were never actually together before.
Yeah, they were
Had
they were
tension.
definitely there there was a relationship there prior of a romantic form,
I think
whether or
that's what
not
it was getting at,
that
but
included mating, as it were, is
Maybe I
open for
misheard. Maybe I
debate.
misheard or interpreted that phrase then.
So
yeah.
are we gonna force Aaron to go first again?
Yes, all of them.
Okay.
All right.
Too easily influenced.
I didn't think it was a bad episode. I
Interesting.
didn't think it was particularly great.
Aaron hates Star Trek.
Um, I thought it was fun that they had an episode that was really featuring Worf. That was good. Overall, I gave it a 6. I thought it was an okay episode. Um, it wasn't good or bad. I was easily distracted when I was watching it,
Well, that's hard.
and I've got thoughts on why I think it was only okay. Um, So I don't know if you want me to go into that now or if we you want to give your thoughts. Abby clearly thinks I'm way wrong. Um, but yeah, I thought it was just okay. Um, and then in part, I'm not sure if I thought it was just merely okay or if it was even okay. Like I'm not sure which side I'm coming from. If it was it could have been a bit better, but it's okay versus I don't even know why I thought it was that good. Um, so I like the world building regarding the Klingon culture and those customs, and that was all interesting enough that I'll stick with a 6. But yeah, I guess I think when you get to the end of it, not much changed in the story. Like the state of the world that they have at the beginning of the story is almost identical to the state of that world at the end. Now, there are differences in that at the beginning, there was this Klingon ship that was a potential threat that is no longer a threat. But Kalar showed up and then was gone. And it wasn't like the comparison I made. It wasn't like Bilbo leaving the Shire and then coming back a completely different person.
Okay,
Worf
but
is basically the same at the end of the episode as he was at the beginning, and there
okay, but
wasn't really any major change in like the state of Worf or anything else. Worf got a bit of a taste of command, but I didn't see a whole lot more than that.
okay, but how does that differ than, I don't know, the episode we watched previously,
That
where
one
you
was a
could
little
say
more
that
fun.
about every. This was a fun episode too, but
The other one was a little more fun.
Aaron hates Star Trek.
Aaron hates Star Trek. Man,
I
Abby,
just
do you want to go, or do you want me to
I
just
just I
You
continue
didn't
to
go.
fly off the
dislike I
handle?
didn't dislike the episode. I just I it just left me kind of like, okay, whatever.
Go for it, Nate.
This episode is an 8 at least.
Amen. Aaron's a tool. This is a
This is a
great
great
episode.
episode. I don't know what you thought you were watching when you were watching this episode, but sounds like somebody needs to go watch Trouble with Tribbles again. I don't know.
I know he's rating these the same as he rated the original series stuff. Like maybe Aaron just likes the original series.
Yeah, that must be it. This is again, it's a fun episode, but in a different way.
Yeah.
I like the world building, learning more about Klingon culture. I love the Worf-centric episode. I think he does fantastic in this episode. You kind of see all kinds of the different moods of Worf, which are really just different shades of the same color. But still, there's nuance there. To see him involved romantically is kind of fun to watch. The idea of this Klingon ship where everyone's been asleep for 100 years, and they think that the Klingon Empire is still at war with the Federation. They're going to wake up, be in Federation territory, and start blowing shit up. Like that fits in my brain with how the Klingons are, and I think it's a very easy thing to say, well, we're going to go hunt them down and blow them up, which is what Kalar wanted to do, versus something that was a little more creative and was made for a very kind of cool scene towards the end. Not just Worf in command, but Worf dealing with a diplomatically delicate situation and handling it pretty masterfully. Also, basically solo, because no one really said anything that entire scene except for him and the captain of the Klingon ship. And he rocked it. So I struggle to find a whole lot wrong with this episode. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's fine. I had more notes on this one than the episode before.
I had way less notes on this one than the episode before.
And I didn't dislike it, and I don't know what it was that made me just feel okay. I think, yeah, it was just there have been plenty of better episodes that we've watched. And this one, I didn't dislike it. I didn't hate it. It wasn't bad. It just kind of was. And yeah, I could throw that same criticism of like there was minimal progress. And I know that there's not going to be these revolutionary changes in these characters
Almost
in
every
a single
episode has
episode.
literally zero progress. There are very, very few episodes that
But
fundamentally change a character
a
from
lot of the episodes will have them defeating an enemy. There is a major change to the state of what is going on in the episode. And at the beginning of the episode, they were not fighting a Klingon ship. And at the end of the episode, they were not fighting a Klingon ship.
Yeah, because
So,
diplomacy works,
yeah, but
right?
yeah, but still.
Yeah, but
It
not
just
still like
for whatever reason, this episode, I just think it just didn't hit it for me right there. Maybe I just need to go rewatch it, and I'm totally open to that.
you admitted you were distracted throughout it, so
I was distracted because it wasn't capturing my attention. I was sitting there taking a lot of notes, and I was kind of like, when's this going to be over? It wasn't that
it's only
bad.
one of these that we agree.
There have been
to
others
disagree
that were
on,
that
for
No,
were
we don't
that
have to
bad.
agree to disagree. We can just agree he's wrong. It's two
And
against
that's
one.
fine.
He's just terrible. He's an awful human being, and we're done with it.
For that, I'm going to mute
I'm
Nate.
really glad we're 17 and a half years married.
Because I can't bring myself to mute you, but I'll mute Nate
Okay.
out of principle.
Quick, Nate, ask me what you want to say. I'll say it for you.
So I really did, though. I liked the world building around Worf and the Klingons and that culture and everything.
Don't suck up now.
But then at the same time, I don't know. I didn't care for the Kalar character all that much. Um, One of my
Oh.
notes late in the episode, I was like, she's kind of a bitch.
Ruh-roh.
Ruh-roh.
Because
I
I
think
was like,
she's great.
it's
I think she's
Spoilers!
funny as hell.
it's one thing to not agree with somebody's code of honor,
Yeah.
but she was just like downright nasty about it to Worf at near the end.
I think
So
sardonic and sarcastic is probably a better way to put it, but
I don't think so. I think she was being like legitimately just nasty about it, which is maybe part of why I didn't care for it so much. I was like, what the
so
hell?
okay, but I'll push back on that too. Let's concede that point for a minute, and then let me say, when are the Klingons ever not mean and nasty about everything?
And that's fair. She's also half human.
Yeah, but
But
working for the Klingon Empire, right? Really
yeah,
leaned in on that Klingon side.
yeah, but I think it's at the same time she was how often do we see Klingons shitting on other Klingons about their code of honor?
All the time.
Really?
Yeah, you have no honor is one of the like most
That's not
spoken
what this was.
lines.
That's not what this was because that's like taking a like saying this person has not stood up to their code of honor. She was shitting on Worf's code of honor, saying basically like that's a stupid way to live. And so that's where I was kind of like, man, she's just kind of a bitch.
Abby, what did you rate this episode?
Um, Honestly, I was high, like 8.5.
That's fair. I'm all of two
Kalar
points
was a great,
below
I mean,
you.
we had great suspense. We had great, no, it's a difference between a passing grade and a like the kids should go back to summer school. That is not the same thing. Um, so one is an honors in school. One is a you might be able to work at McDonald's later. Good for you. Um, so everything about Kalar was intriguing to me. So her arrival on the probe, that was an intriguing thing. What is going
Yeah.
on? It set a sense of urgency. You do have a scenario where we have to save something. They mentioned it numerous times, like thousands of lives were at stake in this because they're not taking on a Klingon warbird with the Enterprise. They don't want to kill people, but they don't have to. And so Picard is like, we need to find other options on this. Even though she's just like, we just shoot him and it's fine. We'll just kill him. It's fine. So there was that political aspect that apparently you don't care about in this episode, but every other episode you care about. And then there's the we've
Wow.
got the
Shots fired. That was amazing.
Worf-centric episode where we're learning about Worf and his background, and he's getting in touch with his side there, a little bit more about his history, and he knew this person and someone from his culture, and I can't imagine how difficult that would be the only person from your entire not just culture but species around, because he's the only officer in Starfleet. So that's crazy to me. And then it was an interesting progression, and it showed how the Klingon, it just shows them better, her aggression, and explaining that to Troi, and it was a fun episode.
I agree. Let's just end this here and move on to the next one
All
before
right,
Aaron
I'll
doesn't
revisit it.
shit on it
That's
more.
fine. I'm not
Um,
shitting on it. I just thought it was okay.
It's not like it's not so much that I want Lois dead. It's that I don't want her alive
No.
anymore.
It's not that I want to kill Lois,
That's what it sounds like when you're talking about this episode.
and that's fine. Yeah. My first note, it wasn't a bad episode, but it wasn't particularly good either, which falls right into six range. Okay. Um, and then I had some positive things to say. Not too many episodes put a lot of focus on Worf, so that was fun. I enjoyed that. There was a lot there, but yeah, it just yeah For whatever reason, bits of it just kind of fell flat for me. I did like though when Riker asked Worf, "How did you like command?" and Worf said, "Comfortable chair."
Yeah, great line. I'm not gonna answer that.
And
So
then I don't know, maybe like ironically, I love the movie Jerry Maguire, but then Worf going all Jerry Maguire at the end with K'Ehleyr,
yeah,
like I will not be complete without you. It's yeah, he's going all Jerry Maguire on it, and I don't
absolutely.
know.
This is
Just needed her to
hilarious.
say you had me at hello, and
I
then
know.
you'd be good to go.
You guys need to hear what ChatGPT thinks this episode was about because it's great. So here, I'm going to let you guys answer the actual answer, and then I'm going to read you the answers that ChatGPT said, okay? What was the primary mission of the USS Enterprise D in the Emissary?
Well, to intercept the Klingon ship.
No, it was to investigate a distress signal, but they also
Yeah.
could have been assisting the Kardashian or the
The
Cardassians. I thought it said
Kardashians.
Kardashians. I was like, wait, did they write
Yeah,
Kardashians?
there was
No.
a class 11 emergency signal they received.
Okay.
So, who is the character that serves as the emissary in this episode?
K'Ehleyr.
Okay, but they say it's Captain Picard. But what
No.
species does the emissary represent?
I mean, technically Klingons, but
No, it says
But
she's
if it's Picard, it
Bajoran.
would be human.
They say she's Bajoran.
of course
What
she's
is
Bajoran.
the name of the spiritual leader featured in this episode? I don't remember one of those. What
Now,
was
is that so the bit I know is that confusing this episode with DS9
It sure is. That's
because
exactly what's
the
happening.
first episode of DS9 is
It's
called
fine.
The
It's the
Emissary.
emissary. Yeah. Or just emissary, I think. Not, but it's the same title.
Oh, season 2, episode 20. So let's see if it does better.
That would explain the Bajoran thing.
I was
And
like,
Picard
where
being
is
the
it?
emissary.
It doesn't explain
Picard isn't
Picard being the
Picard
emissary,
shouldn't be in there.
but it
I don't
explains
know. There's
Bajoran.
some crossover between Next Gen and DS9, isn't there?
Not
There is,
there.
but we're not there yet, and it's not that. Was that for an answer?
Fair.
Not with Picard.
Are
Was
you
it season
kidding? There's
2?
one of the greatest scenes involving Picard has to do with DS9, but
Season
yeah,
2,
we'll get
episode
there.
20.
Yeah.
Let's see if it does better if I actually they are really confused by this. What personal connection does Deanna Troi have with the Bajorans? She is Bajoran. She studied it. Romantic relationship. She's of Bajoran ancestor.
No,
Like,
yeah, forget it.
these are not. These are all Bajoran questions, not Star Trek: The Next
So
Generation. All right, never mind. ChatGPT failed us.
I
Yeah.
did mention to Abby, I did think K'Ehleyr obviously didn't look familiar, but seemed a bit familiar.
This broke
I
my
don't know if it
brain.
was the voice or what.
Should we
What?
get to the trivia? Because it's the
This
first trivia.
broke my
But
brain.
the K'Ehleyr is Marshall's mom from How I Met Your Mother.
Oh yeah. So I forgot about that.
She was so
She's
young
in a
though.
ton of stuff.
And she was also Robert's ex-wife from Everybody Loves Raymond.
So, but you've seen her before in Star Trek too.
Hmm.
So she played Dr. Solar, the Vulcan doctor in The Schizoid Man. Remember her? And they go meet Data's grandfather and they beam down with
Interesting.
the Vulcan. She's the Vulcan.
Okay.
But yeah, she was in Mad About You. She's been in a bunch of different things.
What
So,
other trivia?
let's see. The original story had K'Ehleyr being the product of a Vulcan mother and a Klingon father, but the editors thought that was too unrealistic. Footage of the Klingon battlecruiser was reused from Star Trek The Motion Picture with added disruptor and cloaking effects. This episode features the fourth completely different version of an admiral's uniform. Let's see. A star chart first seen behind Dexter, Remick, and Conspiracy makes another appearance in the tactical room. So one of these characters I don't know because I haven't watched Mad About You in forever. So bit players Anne Ramsey, who played Ensign Clancy, and Diedrich Bader, unnamed tactical crewman, went on to have major success
I'm
as
sorry,
series
Diedrich
regulars.
Bader was in this episode,
Yes, he was.
and I didn't
See, you
see
were
it.
not paying attention. He
I must
played
not have
unnamed
been.
tactical crewman. Um,
Hold
so go
on.
back. The scenes on the bridge where Worf is off doing something else, and they've got
Oh
a tactical
shit.
officer there. It's
Huh.
Dieter Bader.
Huh.
Obviously, he goes on to play Oswald Lee Harvey in the Drew Carey Show, which
Yep.
is I have not watched that show in forever, but it was hysterical.
Oh, so good.
So that's the trivia. There's not a
I
lot
I
to this
did
one.
not notice that was
He
him.
has like
I did.
two
I will
lines.
say I made a comment about somebody with one of the kind of background security people in another episode, um, that I recognize that guy right away every time. But yeah, can't believe I missed that. That's
Yep,
awesome.
it's pretty cool.
I'll just go kind of the last line I had for this one was Kalar said, Worf, you're the perfect Klingon, the ultimate minimalist, much like the score this episode deserves. Moving on. Had to get it when you were taking a drink, so you couldn't
Boo!
respond. No, I will
Boo!
watch this episode again, and we'll see if I can bump it up even a little bit. Anything else?
No, I'm good. You're wrong, but I'm good.
Yeah, that's fine. All right. Abby, any last thoughts on that one, or are you so upset that I gave it a 6 that
You're dead to me. No, I'm just fine.
all right. All right, moving on to the penultimate episode of season 2. A simulated war game suddenly turns into a real-life fight for survival when the crew is ambushed by a Ferengi battleship in peak performance.
Aaron probably hated this one too.
So, I guess do I have to give my scores first every
Oh
time now?
yeah, everyone.
All right. I thought this was a solid episode. If I gave fractional points, I would say maybe about a 6.6, somewhere between okay and good, but a hair closer to good. So I'm giving it a 7. Um, I thought it managed to highlight a lot of the characters really well. Um, got to see some more good stuff from Worf, some sneakiness from Wesley. Riker was just his most Riker, and yeah, it wasn't a great episode, but it was perfectly fine. I like this one.
I agree. I gave it a 7.
I got this one right.
I like this episode. I don't think it's as solid as the Emissary. It's a slightly less fun. Still pretty fun. Still kind of cool. I like the Ferengi. It just is what it is. I think that it's an interesting premise with a couple of things that bug me a little bit about it, but not enough for me to go, this episode's stupid and I never want to talk about it ever again. I think it's generally kind of a fun episode. My main struggle was with the fact that the Ferengi are not members of the Federation, but but they're not at war with Federation either, right? So there's at least they're a neutral party, but they seem to have no problem traipsing into Federation space and taking pot shots at the flagship. And that I would expect to have bigger ramifications than it did. However, I enjoyed every other part of the episode so much that I'm willing to kind of overlook that. But if that had
Yeah.
been a Romulan vessel, we would have started hearing things like act of war and retaliation and yada yada yada. Instead, it's, oh, we're just gonna trick these guys until they run away, and that's gonna be the end of it. We'll never talk about it again.
Isn't that what it works though? Like knowing your opponent?
Yeah, but again, in the real world, where is that ever a thing?
Well, the Ferengi are so money based, and so it would make sense to them that someone would rather destroy their treasure than like it fits within their cultural beliefs almost. So that's why it'd be more
Yeah, but
believable.
it's not so much that, it's that they were totally okay with just showing up and starting to shoot, right? And that didn't get any other reaction from anyone on the Enterprise other than how do we get ourselves out of this situation? Not at all the fact that that's a pretty big form of aggression, right? You flew into another territory that doesn't belong to you and you started shooting. That's what bothered me. But again, not so much that by the end of the episode I'd forgotten that even happened, and was totally focused on other things.
Yeah.
So
So this was another one where I've leading me to kind of change my process here and not writing down, just typing out the Paramount Plus description before watching it. Because when you read that, it makes you think like, oh man, the Ferengi are going to be like, it's going to be half the episode is dealing with the fallout of this, not 41 minutes in, like, are the Ferengi going to show up? Because
yeah.
it was just such a late part to it.
Yep.
Um, which again kind of makes some of the episodes feel a little weird when they've got something like that in the description that clearly doesn't capture everything that's going on in it. And I mean, you can only do so much in 20 words or whatever they used right there. But yeah, it was just like, okay, that does happen. I guess that's accurate, but it yeah, it happened so late in the episode. It was kind of odd like that. Um,
There's a lot of setup to get to that point, right?
yeah, which I
But it
didn't think
didn't
was
work.
bad.
There's
I
just a
thought a
lot
lot
of
of
setup.
I thought a lot of the episode was fine, but
Hmm.
having that expectation, like, okay, a Ferengi battle cruiser is gonna or battleship is gonna show up at some point, and then continuing to wait for it, where earlier on, had I not read that, that would have been a big surprise of like, oh, now they've got something real to deal with here. Um, so yeah, again, kind of changing that plan to just be like, all right, nope, I'm just gonna hit play and then I can type that up later.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Abby, what about
Abby, yeah, what did you think?
I like it. I thought it was fun. I love episodes that allow Riker to be Riker.
you?
And so that was a really easy episode for me. And the camaraderie there and the banter back and forth, I think it was a really cool setup. It really got to showcase how awesome this crew really is and how they can take these no-win scenarios pretty much that were set up and just turn them around. Even Wesley's little like stealing the warp drive, like the look on Picard's face when he's like, "We have a little bit of warp drive." No, you don't. And Picard's like, "You're gonna tell me that about that later, number one." Like
Yeah.
just how proud he was. I love that it gave, Picard a chance to defend his people. Like he's calling out, and he didn't do it like in anger in front of everyone on the bridge, which would have been really easy to do. It was like, can I talk to you for a minute? Why
Yeah.
you shitting on Riker kind of thing.
Korami's a dick.
Absolutely.
But
Absolute asshole.
what
But
a
he
great
handled him well.
antagonist for this
Yeah,
episode we're in,
absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. He gave you someone to hate that you couldn't kill. Um, the grins from all the people acting, they did so much acting in this episode without dialogue. It was so much body language and smirks and shrugs and things like that. It was fantastic. Um, I said the Ferengi were kind of random, but a cool twist. Um, I
Have we
said this is
experienced the Ferengi yet where they're not just completely random?
No.
I mean, they're not as chaotic as they were in the first episode, but
But they were always meant to be the big bad, right?
yeah.
And then it just didn't work. So now when they do show up, it is just kind of completely random, right?
I have this.
Yeah.
I have this note. Comedy, strategy, teamwork, aliens. This is Star Trek. Like,
Mhm.
this is Star Trek. It hits every box for a Star Trek episode. That, at least for me, that is Star Trek. I have a couple extra questions to pose to Nate. Could Data actually lose to the statistician? Like, or was that a plot hole because they wanted to have that divisiveness?
So that's a great question because I thought about that too. And obviously it's a plot point, right? I mean, the sudden loss of confidence that Data
Uh-huh.
suffers, which in itself is sort of an emotional response, but not really. Um, so here's what I'll go back to, and I think it's might be a comparison that Aaron would make, which is how long did it take before a computer could beat a human at Go, right? That's a
Yep.
relatively recent thing.
I was just looking up how many games did AlphaGo win,
See?
and and AlphaGo won 4 games against Lee Sedol.
Yeah,
Won
out of
four
how many?
games, and he actually won one.
Okay.
So
But what year was that? Because up until that point,
uh
they
this
tried for a
was
long time to get
I
a
watched the
computer to beat a
documentary
human.
on it. It had to be when was it? March of 2016. So I mean it was 8 years ago now.
Yeah, so
But
it's not that long ago in the grand
no.
scheme of things. So I don't, especially given when this episode aired, and thinking about, obviously they're forward looking in terms of what the capabilities of technology, but they also tend to be pretty conservative in some areas of what we're capable of doing. We're starting to see things now that they thought wasn't going to happen until the 21st century. Talking to our computers, right? Having conversations with them. Like, so for them to think
Well,
that Data maybe couldn't beat another person at a game that's super complex and very strategic, I can believe that.
so thinking about it at this time, this was in 1989. Um, Gary Kasparov beat Deep Blue in 1996.
Yeah. So he had,
So in 97, Deep Blue won, which was apparently the first defeat of a reigning world chess champion by a computer under tournament conditions. So at this point, even chess hadn't been solved when they made this episode. And I believe it was in the book Gödel Escher Bach that I read that was written in the late 70s. And in that one, he even talked about how it was either very unlikely or possibly had not yet. It, even the idea of a computer beating a grandmaster at chess was like so far beyond what they could imagine at that time. So having that conversation with the game that is apparently more complex than chess, probably more complex than Go, um, saying that it's an automatic computer win was, I mean, at this time, we'd look at anything like that and say, oh yeah, in the next 200 years, a computer is going to solve everything like that. But
I think
that
it's a
notion wasn't necessarily a given at that time.
I think it's a great question because I mean, like I said, I wrestled with the same thing at the time too. This episode also has one of my favorite lines of any Star Trek episode ever, and it's directly in relation to this. And I still kind of think of, I have a hard time reconciling it in my mind with Data. So Picard goes to Data's quarters, and as he's leaving, he kind of turns back and says, "It's possible to commit mistakes and still, or commit no mistakes and still lose. That is not a weakness, that is life." Um, but when I juxtapose that with them playing this game, it assumes then that Data did not make any mistakes and still lost. And then I start to think about I don't know how to play Go. I've never really played it. I played chess a lot when I was younger. Oddly enough, Ellie just got really into chess. So we've been playing like usually at least one game a night for the last couple of weeks. So it was kind of funny for this episode to pop up during it. But if you aren't making any mistakes, how are you losing?
Well,
So that's that weird.
it depends on the game. There is an inherent advantage sometimes to
Yep.
either going first or second. And if the person who plays first plays perfectly, you
Yeah,
may
then you're always on
never
the defense and
you may never be able to win
yeah.
against somebody who also plays perfectly.
And that's fair. It's just trying to like it's a great line and I get it, but I also like it doesn't always completely align in my brain and it kind of breaks things. But
But then
it's still
I
one of my
like
favorite lines in Star Trek.
I
So,
like the way though Data adjusts to that in the
yep,
rematch, where he
absolutely.
just kind of understands like if I try to win, he knows the moves to make.
Hmm.
So if I try to play for a draw or a stalemate, well, that got him to give up.
Yep.
So he's like, in the strictest sense, I did not win, but at the same time, there can be
Rami
multiple games at
forfeits.
play. There can
Yeah.
be multiple games at play. If you can get into the head of the other person enough and play that game while
Yep.
still sufficiently playing the game on the table, you can win through other means.
Many,
Which
many years ago, when I was in high school, we used to get together at a Caribou Coffee every Saturday morning and play chess. There'd be like 10 of us because we were nerds, right? This is what we did. And I still remember I'm terrible at chess, like absolutely awful. It is just not, my brain doesn't think that way. And so I would regularly just get whooped. But the first time I ever played with a timer was the first time I mopped the floor with a buddy of mine who is great at chess. But I just murdered him. Like wasn't even a contest. And it was because I changed the rules under that set of circumstances. I realized that not only are we playing to checkmate, we're playing to a finite amount of time, right? If you run
Yep,
out
you're
of time, you
playing to
lose.
not run out of time.
So I just started playing super radically.
And he just couldn't
That
adjust.
couldn't adjust, and I was trying to maximize time, and he was trying to win. And basically, I had him so flustered by the end of it that he ran out of time and I won the game. It
Hmm.
was terrible playing. Like, there's no logic to anything that I was doing, but I was trying to keep the ball consistently in his court, right?
Well,
I wanted his clock running.
there's a lesson there in knowing your conditions to
Yep.
win. I
And I
mean,
think that's what Data hit, right?
if your conditions of victory are checkmate the king or last longer, I
Hmm.
mean, depending on what those parameters are, that's as valid of a victory,
Yep.
which kind of leads me to some of the other points I had in this one. I wrote at one point, Wesley looks like he's trying to cheat, but
Is he?
is the difference between cheating and improvisation what the rules are? And in a way, he didn't hide what he was doing on the Enterprise. He may have been, we'll say, coy or misleading about it, but
Bent the truth a little.
yeah, but at the same time, they allowed him to do it. So was he cheating or were the rules just ill-defined?
In a real world battle scenario,
You do what you
if
got to do to win.
exactly, and if that means you sneak onto the enemy ship to do something and sneak back, That's not out of bounds.
No.
That's basically what Wes did.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was
He was
I
a
thought that was
spy.
great.
Exactly.
In a
He
real
was
life
a spy.
situation, he was a spy. And that would have
Yep.
been a risky thing, but they would have done it if it had saved everyone.
Yep.
I loved watching that thing materialize in engineering and then just tip and
And
Jordy
Jordy
is
look
like,
around.
what? What
Yep.
just happened? Like that was that shot was so simple and so cool at the same time.
Yep.
This one almost it I liked you mentioned that makes me think I like the directing of this one. It
Hmm.
was a fun way that they did it. And it made me wonder, was this Jonathan's directing? And I almost went and looked, but because I know I usually like his stuff on stuff, but
His first episode that he directs has not happened, but it is coming very quickly. So,
So I there were a few things, a few other thoughts I had, like in principle here, and it's a thought I've had not just related to this one, but it was prominent here. And I think we as a society have a very interesting relationship with greatness.
yeah, I
We
agree with
we love the idea of greatness
that. Hmm.
until we despise it. We love seeing Tiger Woods winning major after major until he's won whatever we determine to be too many, and then we want him to lose
Yep.
every time. We
we
love
want him to
seeing Tom,
lose because he put
we
his
love
wife through
seeing,
crap.
no, that's, there's something that goes way beyond the personal aspects of it. I think we love seeing Tom Brady beat the Rams in 2001. We hate seeing Tom Brady beat the Rams in 2020 or 2021, whenever he beat them the last time. We love seeing Tom Brady win his first three Super Bowls. We hate seeing him win his
Yeah.
seventh.
We don't like
Um,
a dynasty unless it's our dynasty. Like,
right,
That's
be
fair.
one
right,
thing if you live in New England and the Patriots are your team, then you
right.
want to win every year.
But we have this really interesting relationship with greatness in that we love it until
So
we hate it.
I mean,
Until we
it's
not just hate it,
bad.
but despise it and
You
want to
you
see
either
them taken down. So
you
I
either die a
really,
hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
yeah. So I have over many years taken the very unpopular outside of the Boston area opinion of I'm a big fan of Bill Belichick, and once, like, I thought it was great seeing Brady go win with the Bucks. I I was rooting for the Patriots to come back when they were down against the Falcons. I loved seeing them do that because we were seeing greatness on a level we might never see again in football. And so but I find it interesting that I don't know when people turned on Brady and the Patriots, but it happened. And they went from being this plucky, no name, sixth round draft pick going on to take on the greatest show on turf with the Rams back in '01.
Yep.
And they went from that to being just villains. Like you said, they lasted long enough to become the villains. And I don't know when that happened. And it's just crazy that that's the relationship we have with greatness. And it seems that way almost across the board.
Now,
People
I am
like
curious.
people like I mean, I've always been raised to hate the Yankees. But why? Because
Yeah.
they've got a record of
Or the
success that's untouched
or the
in
Packers.
baseball. Fuck the Packers.
But this is it's the
It's
same.
not because they're great, it's because they're assholes.
I mean, they can also suck and be assholes, which is apparently this
Yeah.
year. So, um, but I am curious though, to Abby's point, like, you hit on you've got Tiger Woods, who everyone loved until he didn't. He obviously had a ton of personal stuff that wasn't so great outside of that. You've got Belichick and Brady and the Patriots. But with that, you also have Deflategate
There's a lot of
and
baggage.
a lot of that stuff that was, you know, arguably not the best. Do every one of these scenarios, do those downfalls come with baggage? Humans aren't perfect, right? But does that play into it?
I was rooting for Max Verstappen in F1 when he beat Lewis Hamilton. And why did I not want Hamilton to win? Hey, he's already won 7 world
Okay, that's
championships.
fair.
It's good to see
And
somebody
Hamilton
different.
doesn't, I don't know of any, I don't follow F1 really, really closely, but I don't know of any baggage that he seems like a very nice human being, is what I've
Yeah.
gotten out
But
of
then
every
but then you
interview
see
I've seen.
Verstappen has won 3 in a row. He's on the road to his
Yep.
fourth straight world championship. And now you're starting to see people think
Yeah.
like, maybe it's somebody else's
But
turn.
and I think, but with Verstappen,
When at the same
he's
time
a little cockier
we
than most, right?
we saw a stretch between early last season and the middle of this current season. We saw a stretch of victories that may be untouched. Like
Sure.
there have been 2 times in F1 history. I could be slightly off on this, but there have been 2 times that a driver won 9 consecutive races. And Verstappen did both of those times in a stretch of 19 races. He won 9, lost 1, won 9.
Abby
So
loves F1 so much. Can you tell?
You guys have been
I'm just
talking
saying,
sports for 10 minutes.
I'm just saying we have a very interesting relationship in society with greatness. We love it until we despise it. And I couldn't stand Pulaski in this episode because she was the complete embodiment of that. She was like talking Data up like the like why did she even care? She thought the honor of the ship was on the line or
It's
his
not that. It wasn't
reputation
that. It
was
was
on the line.
Pulaski is finally came around to Data being more than like she's always been Data as a machine. He's a machine, he's a machine, he's a
Yeah.
machine. Limited value beyond machine. So now she's like, hey, I see a value to the machine. And it was there to
His
show her and him. Like
but his
he's
But
infallible,
her
and she had
view
to
of
figure
his
that out.
value, her view of his value is that he could put this guy in his place because he was kind of a dick, because
No,
he
I think
was
it
the
well,
best
yeah.
in the universe at this game.
We've all acknowledged that he was a dick on that episode. So I
Yeah,
think the entire ship was happy to put him down in any way possible because he was a
No.
dick.
yeah. But I think
He
it
came
just
in
shows kind of
throwing
my
everyone under the
Pulaski
point
was an
bus.
though.
interesting, plot device choice because she now got to show additional progression between those characters.
Yes.
She used to just think he was a machine, and now he's not just a machine. It's not stagnant. We're moving forward. She kind of likes him now. She can rely on him, and he let her down a little bit by not being full machine mode.
Yeah.
And so I think that was interesting. Unlike, we see these characters that develop and have progression. They grow, they change. We have enough characters we can follow that within Next Generation. Unlike original series, we only have 3 characters primarily. Maybe Scotty, 4. There's not a ton. You have a very small group that didn't have any progression. They're the exact same on episode 1 that they were on the very last episode. Whereas on here, we add extra characters in to show that progression, show that change, show that growth. It's a maturing team. It's a maturing ship.
I thought the way she was in that though just seemed petty and silly. So again, it goes along though with those thoughts that I've had and I've had these thoughts for years about just that relationship we have with greatness and the way that some people are so drawn to just hate it. And they'll find whatever reason they want. They'll say, "Oh, he's an asshole," or whatever. But yeah, I find that interesting stuff to think about. Now, this was the episode that there was somebody that I was like, "Oh, it's him," because I think it every time I see this guy.
Yeah.
Burke, did you recognize him at all?
I'm admittedly going back to look at the cast
Who is
list.
Burke?
Oh, yeah.
Who's Burke?
Yeah.
Who is the character?
The security officer
the
that
security
takes over
officer.
for Worf.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah, he
forgot
looks
what his
very
name
familiar. I just
was.
didn't know what he was
Yeah,
from.
he's from
Is
Aaron
he,
Pierce.
I
from
was saying it's
24.
Aaron from The Office or from the 24.
No,
Yeah.
from 24. Aaron Pierce.
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
actual name is, I think, Glenn Morshower, but I
Yeah.
just always say it's Aaron Pierce
Super
Yep.
skinny Aaron
because he was
Pierce.
awesome in
I
24.
loved his character in 24.
So good.
Frankly, I like everything that he's ever in. He's a
I know.
great actor.
He was great in Transformers.
God, he's been in so many things too. It's unreal.
So I did check Wikipedia. He'd done a handful of movies prior to this, but this was his first television role.
Well, good for him.
Now, I do also have to say,
Good for him. 50 years ago.
Riker understands Picard's disposition, and I get why neither of you wanted to bring this line up, but I'm sure you both noted it and thought, oh shit, Aaron's gonna say something. So early in the episode, when they're talking about stuff, Riker says, Mr. Klorami, when I agree to do something, I do it. But then he turns to Picard and asks the question that apparently Picard has faced and doesn't always answer correctly. Do you care to surrender, Captain?
I actually did not catch that, but that's very funny.
So I wrote, you care to surrender now, Captain? See, Riker knows. It's funny because it's true.
All right, let's hear some trivia. Aaron's shitting on Next Generation again.
All right.
I'm not. I truly, I love this show. It's
What's
so
his total?
good.
What is the total of his scores for the last 3 he just gave?
The 3 of them combined, 20.
20 out of a potential 30?
30.
Yeah.
So 2 out of 3,
Okay.
60%. You are a
And
failing student.
and you had, what did you even give the number on this one?
8.
Okay, so
I had 8s across the board.
24 out of 30. Okay. Yeah.
Still a pass.
I'm
unlike
off.
yours.
I'm off by 4 points over 30.
I'm just gonna let you guys hash this out, and then I'll be
Just
back.
just over 10% difference. That's not that much.
Okay.
Small sample size.
4
Trivia.
means a bit. Size matters, Aaron.
Not size, it's how you use it.
Yeah, I'm cutting this out. All right. So what's some trivia
Aaron
on this
hates
one?
it when we start going in that direction. It's
I
very
know,
funny.
he hates it when he's the brunt of it.
Okay. So, remember they get over to the Hathaway and they open it up to look inside the warp core and see what they got, and they've got the dilithium there. They used wax from a blue candle to represent the dilithium pieces.
Ooh.
I mean, really just getting creative, right?
High tech.
So this is a little bit of a callback from last episode.
Well, I will say that kind of stuff I do find really interesting, and it is. I've heard interviews with like props people before, not necessarily Star Trek, but just other shows, and the stuff that they can do and the things that they can make look really good on screen that if you saw in person would just be like, seriously, this?
So,
it's amazing what they can do.
Ago,
and that they can just use random wax from a candle, and that is something that works as a set piece. That's fascinating. The art of that is amazing.
Years ago, it's got to be over 10 now. They had like a traveling display of props and stuff from Star Trek that went around the country. And so they set up at the Mall of America. And Katie and I went. And so they had uniforms, they like everything that you could think of. These uniforms, when you get up close to them, look like shit. They are ugly, awful. They look like something that somebody threw together in about 5 minutes. And it's unreal, but on screen they look good, right? So
on screen under the right lighting,
yeah, they know exactly what to do to make it look decent. So
it's truly an art form.
Wax from a candle. All right, so calling back to last episode, we were watching Star Trek V, and I think I got this wrong when we were talking about it. So I think this trivia will correct that. So the Hathaway's main bridge is a minor redress of the Enterprise D battle bridge. last seen in the Arsenal of Freedom. The original battle bridge was itself a redress of Kirk's Enterprise bridge. I think is
Hmm.
what you said
Yeah.
last time. And I think I said that wasn't right, and I think I'm wrong there. Well, I am wrong. If that's what I said, I am wrong. So that's the redress of Kirk's Enterprise bridge from the first three Star Trek films and had previously served with some subtle differences as the Stargazer's bridge in the battle.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Which makes sense because the Hathaway was another Constellation class. So the bridges should be similar-ish, right? The premise of the obsolete USS Hathaway being pitted against the state-of-the-art USS Enterprise is reminiscent of several wargame exercises run by the United States Navy and NATO allies during and after the Cold War. The exercises have typically involved antiquated diesel submarines being tasked with infiltrating Allied defenses while being hunted by modern weapon systems.
Hmm.
So not a, you know, far-fetched premise, right?
Yeah.
The footage of the Enterprise D towing the USS Hathaway is recycled from the battle, in which the ship in tow was the Stargazer. Both episodes, the Ferengi had an interest in a Constellation-class vessel.
Hmm.
This episode contains a series of only shots of a Constellation-class ship's main engineering section. Dr. Pulaski describes Data as being like Achilles sulking in his tent. This refers to a story in Homer's Iliad about the invincible warrior Achilles, whose love, a slave girl named Briseis, was taken from him by King Agamemnon to be his servant. Rather than joining the king he despised, Achilles remained in his tent until compelled to leave.
Yeah, he was basically like, it shows a difference in culture
Yeah.
in that he was just like, I won her in battle, then the king took her,
Yep.
and so he's like, fuck you guys, I'm staying in my tent while you all go die.
Yeah. Basically, I
It's
love it.
it's wild.
So there's another, this also interesting, same vein. So the Achilles in his tent line is immediately followed by a clever pun. You may be able to fool Troy,
Hmm.
Troi, Troy, Troy, but not me. In the Iliad, Achilles' sulk emboldens Prince Hector of Troy to ignore the counsel of his subordinates, who urge caution and to recklessly attack the Greek forces, almost pushing them back into the sea. The Trojans' gains are all undone when Achilles returns to the battle in maniacal fury, following the death of his friend Patroclus, eventually slaying Hector, which in some ways Data comes back to beat Korami, so that kind of comes around. Kind of interesting, but
Yeah.
and then last bit of trivia here, and then we'll move on to clearly the best episode of the of this tape recording. For the HD remaster, some of the footage of the USS Hathaway could not be located, and in several shots, the physical model was replaced with a CG version. This is especially apparent in aft views of the ship, as the impulse assembly and warp nacelle caps differ noticeably from the original model.
Hmm.
And I actually caught this because at one point they showed the back of the ship, and I went, that doesn't look right. Like something's off. And I am such a ship nerd that I couldn't put my finger on it, but I was like, that's wrong. So, anyway, that's the trivia.
All right. All right. So let's move on to the last episode of season 2, in which Commander Riker is struck down by a deadly microbe which invades his central nervous system and attacks his brain. Now, yeah,
I'm just gonna say real quick, finish your intro again, but I'm gonna bow out because I didn't watch this one. And I need
okay.
to go to
Oh,
bed.
you need to
You don't
watch
want to
it.
stick around and you don't want to, yeah,
You didn't need
I
to
don't think
watch
we're
it.
going to talk very long about this one.
Okay, I'm getting a headache, so if we're gonna
Oh,
be
okay.
not too
Yeah.
long, then I was gonna bow out.
Yeah.
But
Up to you.
What's your rating on the
it's all
season?
that talking about the football made my brain die.
Oh, whatever. What's your rating on the season?
10.
Okay,
Giving
Greg.
season 2 a 10.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was a
Okay,
10.
Greg. All right.
I loved it. I loved it. Every individual episode had issues, but you put it all together, it was this perfect conglomerate of characters and progression, and it was great.
Okay. Cool.
Nate, why are you looking at me like that? I'm not
I
wrong.
mean, I don't think
We
it's a
still have
10.
to.
Great episode. It's a great
It's
season.
listen,
I
listen.
think there are better
It's like
seasons.
Star Wars. If you actually pay attention to it and watch it, it's a shitty movie. But you can't pay attention like that. You have to step back and be like, it's Star Wars. Of
I
course
think
it's
it's a
awesome
solid
and
7
fun.
or 8 for sure. I think we have better
So,
seasons of this particular show to come, and that's
well, I
before.
don't have that yet. And right now I'm comparing to last season and I'm comparing to the original season. So I'm
Okay,
shocked me.
okay.
Okay.
I'd probably give it a 7 or 8. That's my rating. Probably 7. That was my gut reaction. So
It's a C. Season 2 is a C.
yeah, because we
A
haven't
C
got
average.
Season 2, he said season 2 is good.
yeah.
C average. Okay. Aaron,
Yep.
what average are you going to give it?
So I can
He's got it
I
written down.
wrote down my thoughts. I wrote this out.
Quantify
Um
it.
so and this is also factoring in my rating for the final episode, Shades of Grey.
Mhm.
But before actually calculating my score, because I wanted to just say, what's my gut feeling on it? My gut feeling was a 7, but I thought that 7 might be a little on the low side. So then I assumed my average, I just guessing, I thought my averages might come in around 7.4. So rounded down to a 7, still in line with saying it was a good season.
Okay.
Running the numbers, I was surprised to see my average rating for season 2 was 6.6, which again, rounded up would be 7. So still fairly in line, but kind of my overall feeling is that the season was a bit better than I rated it. Or I initially thought the season was going to be better than I rated it. Evidently, I rated the overall season better than the sum of its parts. Um, there were some really good episodes this season, among the best. I think the best episode we've seen yet was in this season, probably the 2 best episodes.
Matter
But
of
there were
honor,
some
man.
what?
A matter of honor and measure of a man.
No, Q Who and Measure of a Man.
Huh. Well,
Matter
you
of Honor also
honor.
very good,
Yeah.
but um but yeah, I think much like my overall estimation of the original series, I felt like Next Gen season 2 was greater than the sum of its parts. Um so I think a 7 is about right. It's clearly this series is on an upward trajectory where the original series felt like it had peaked at the end of season 1, which I also gave a 7. Um, I feel like this show is still rising. It feels like in season 2 it really kind of found its footing. It's figuring out what it is, what it's trying to be, and is getting better. Um, yeah, that was kind of my my high level thoughts on the season. I've got some other thoughts too if we want to go into those, and then Nate, you and I can just discuss Shades of
Yeah.
Grey after. Um, yeah, I thought the best episode of the season was Q Who with a runner up of The Measure of a Man. I mean, that's like just because one of them I had to rank higher, and I thought the Q Who episode was amazing with just the Borg and just some of the stuff in that episode. It was just a really really great episode. Measure of a Man also great, also amazing, just different ways. Um, the worst episode of the season, I think I have to say The Child. and
Oh, we're not
then
even gonna count the one that we haven't talked about yet.
and then runners up, a tie between Up the Long Ladder and Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
Um, Now I've got my reasons for Shades of Grey, but you and I will discuss that. Um, and then just some thoughts on some of the characters. Overall, I liked Pulaski. I thought she was decent. later in the season, I didn't care so much for or about her, but she also wasn't, I think, a major factor later in the season. She had her moments, but nothing like as a focal point. Um, uh, I don't really have any particularly strong feelings between Pulaski or Dr. Crusher. And I do know I'm aware that Crusher comes back. So I'm assuming we've maybe seen the last of Pulaski at this point. But yeah, kind of not much difference to me based on the two seasons we've watched. Uh, I'll say as far as security goes, Worf, way better than Tasha. Um,
Not gonna argue
and
that.
and and I don't know if that was an issue of just too many cooks in the kitchen. It's such a strong ensemble, and I don't know if there were too many main-ish people in it that they just couldn't support that many. So we lose Tasha, but we gained Guinan as a small side character who's in just a couple of episodes,
Right.
but is a really compelling character with what we've seen, especially with some of the developments from Q Who and the mystery and depth of her background that we've only scratched the surface of. My last note on that was kind of sometimes less is more. But with Tasha on the bridge, there may have been too many character mouths to feed and just couldn't support one more character at that kind of level. Worf is more interesting though anyway, so I like the direction they went. Um, Overall, I think the world building on the season was great. They expanded depth to the Klingon culture, kind of building on that mythos and having new enemies coming out. The Borg show up in one episode and they're still out there kind of looming large over everything. Um,
We get a
so yeah,
reference to them in Deep Performance again, right?
I thought it, yeah, and I thought it was a good season. Better than season one and better than season one and rising. So I just have that feeling that it's only going to continue improving. I'm sure there will still be some down episodes, but overall it seems to be going in a very strong direction. And I'm looking forward to see where it goes from here.
I think that is well put. I don't have a whole lot else to add to that. Um, I obviously know it's coming, so
Right.
hard for me to comment, but I do feel as though, we talked about early in season two, this is where the show grows its beard, right? And
Hmm.
where that reference comes from. And I think that's what we've seen over the course of the season is these characters have really settled into each other. And they're firing on basically all cylinders. So yeah, I
So,
mean, much like a lot of shows, I mean, Star Trek is certainly a good example of this. Where original series aside, most of the different shows, season one's a little rougher while they kind of figure out their way, and then season two kind of picks up and goes. But that's true for a lot of different TV shows. There it just
hmm.
takes some time to hit their stride, to build out, you know, how the characters interact with each other, what their backgrounds are, all of those things. And so that's what we've seen here, right? We've got a full season of them figuring it out, plus another season of them, rounding off the edges a little bit, right?
Hmm.
Which takes us into season three, firing on all cylinders at this point.
Yeah. And I remember I've heard it's kind of season three or even season four where the show just hits kind of its peak and almost
Yep.
stays there by what I've heard. And so I'm looking forward to that. And I don't know how much of that I'm baking into my ratings and my thoughts on the overall of the season. But I just thought I was genuinely surprised when I averaged out my ratings and saw that my average was 6.6 for this season because overall I thought it was better than that. And I was expecting me saying a 7 was going to be kind of short selling it, but I couldn't quite bring it up to an 8. But there were some really shitty episodes in this season that brought it down. And
Mhm.
then a lot of episodes that were right in that 6 to 7 range with a few just stellar episodes.
Yep.
And this was a shorter season. It was only 22 episodes compared to the, I think, 26 of season one. Um, and we can discuss that a little bit more too. But yeah, overall, I love the direction it's going. I'm still excited to keep watching it and doing this. Really, really enjoying all of it. Um, yeah, just seeing some of the character developments. I like the characters are all really seem to be figuring out who and what they are. And the writers are able to write to the strengths of those a lot of the time. We've had some really good just character episodes, which I enjoy seeing. Um, and I like that they've had some recurring characters that have been recurring. That's been cool to see too. And I love the way that they have more things happen, like the way that these episodes aren't all just in a vacuum.
Yeah.
That there are ramifications that are felt in other episodes, or at least referenced,
Hmm.
which is a seems to be a fairly simple thing. It's just a line here or there makes that difference that was just lacking from most of the original series.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I can definitely see that, like I said, the direction of this is really good, and I'm excited to see where it goes in season 3 and beyond.
I
With
agree.
that, do we want to take a step back and have a discussion on episode 22, Shades of Gray?
Absolutely.
All right.
What a
So
horrific episode.
I already said what the description was, and I'll probably just keep this in the same order and just go back to it. I don't really care.
Yeah.
Um, now to get into this one, I'm gonna read off three of my notes that were consecutively written, and then kind of break down some of my thoughts on it. So it was maybe a third of the way through the episode, and I'd been taking some notes on like what's going on, um, notes about just the cut that he experienced and the things that were happening and stuff they were saying, something about predatory vines, and I was like, is this The Happening? Because that movie was dog shit. And like just some of that, and then you see him go somewhere else, and I was like, did he just call for Tasha? And then my next note was, why lose the beard? And then my next note, is this a clip show?
It took you that long to figure it out, huh?
Well, I guess I don't I've not seen all these I've seen all these other episodes one time.
Yeah, that's fair.
So when he lost the beard, so when he was calling for Tasha, I was kind of like, that's weird. Did he say Tasha? She's dead. She's gone. And then I saw him without the beard, and I was like, okay, are they doing some like going somewhere else? And then I was like, when he was walking on the rocks, going to see Data, I was like, man, this looks like the very like the I think it was Encounter at Farpoint, wasn't it? But it looks like an early episode.
Yep.
Like, are they recreating some of these scenes? And I was like, oh no, no, they're not. Now, I've never been a complete hater of clip shows. I remember watching one from Everybody Loves Raymond and the one in The Office, and honestly enjoying them. But that was before everything is on demand and you can see all of those clips over and over again at the click of a button.
Yep.
So I remember seeing clip shows and enjoying it. It's fun seeing that kind of retrospective on kind of fun moments, nostalgic points from a series. When you're 5 or 6 seasons in, not 2. So I recall enjoying those ones, but they're pulling from 100 or more episodes, not 48. I mean, so yeah, in a cosmic sense, I'm not opposed to a Star Trek clip show, but there are a few ways that this episode failed for me. I gave this one a 4.
Okay.
I thought it was a bad episode, which is kind of tough because it's like they're pulling clips from a lot of decent episodes
And a lot of really bad episodes too.
and a
I
lot of
mean,
really bad episodes.
right?
But as an episode, this one just failed. It
Yeah.
doesn't work as the second season finale.
I
That's
don't, well,
way too early to have a clip show.
it was not set up for success.
Nope.
So I'm just gonna get into some of the trivia because it's relevant here, and
So
I want
I want to I want to run through a couple other thoughts I had and just find out if I am let me regroup here. So I'm curious if some of the questions I have might dip into some of the things that led to this,
to.
and just see if I can logic my way into why they would even do this when they did. Um, so yeah, as I said, yeah, second season finale. That is one way too early for a clip show, and a clip show's a season finale
Womp womp.
seems terrible.
Yep.
Um, it also didn't become the clip show until a third or halfway through the episode, which was just kind
14
of
minutes and 40
weird.
seconds into a 45-minute episode. How do I know that? Because I timed it.
And but the story behind why they were showing the clips was really weak. In the
Yes.
office, they have an investment banker coming in who's interviewing them and kind of going over like what is going on here. So there's at least a some bit of a story that's going along. But 2 seasons, I don't think provides enough to make a compelling clip show. Now, I'll go on YouTube and I'll watch a clip compilation of Parks and Rec or The Office or Community. And the only reason I haven't really for Star Trek is that I'm still trying to avoid spoilers and seeing, yeah, spoilers.
Yep.
And while I don't listen as often as I used to, one of my favorite episodes of the Adam Carolla show every year is the Ace Awards, which is basically a clip show of podcast moments from the prior year. Um, but yeah, this episode just didn't work. I could have given it a 3 and said it was awful, but since a lot of the clips weren't bad, I'll go with a 4. Um, I said the clips were fine, but the episode was bad. It was just a bad use of that method, I guess. Too early in the series. The surrounding story was kind of dumb and would have been better with a few seasons later with a better side story, which does make me pause and say, God, I hope they don't do another clip show in like season 5.
Fun fact, that's the end of every season, all the way to the end.
So then I had kind of those thoughts on clip shows in general, why I generally don't mind them, but this one I didn't care for. But then I'm trying to figure out like why the hell would they do this
So that
and
was
when
going
they
to be my
did it.
question is, do you have,
So
why do you think they did this?
a few things. So growing up, I remember most shows would run from about September through May. You would have a bit of a hiatus in January and February. They'd show some reruns, and then it would pick back up with new episodes between March and June, and then would wrap up a summer break. You'd see some of these random one-off shows in the summer, or they would show reruns of other shows over that bigger summer hiatus. Season 2 of Next Gen ran from November to mid-July. And season 3 started in September, barely 2 months after season 2 ended. So I don't know if there was fallout from the writers' strike in 87 and 88 that led to some of this being pushed back in the season and then possibly still impacting the end of season 2. And then I also don't know if filming for season 2 was impacted by the filming of Star Trek 5, since we discussed before they used some of the same sets. So my last thought there was I suppose that would be fitting since this was basically the Star Trek 5 of next gen episodes. Um, but and then I can't help but think they may have already been working on season 3 and just like fuck it, we need to have something, do a clip show. And I think after this episode, I need to do a podcast clip show of just highlights of the previous 48 episodes,
For
which would
sure.
be really fitting because I think this is episode 48 that we're recording.
Depending on how you treat Encounter at Farpoint, it's 1 or 2 episodes. Yes.
I'm sorry, this is the 47th podcast episode. Um, but, but yeah, so I those are some of my theories that it may have been writer strike, something to do with the timing of the season since it went to mid July, and timing of Star Trek 5 and possibly filming impacting season 2, and some of that just making for a really weird spot. But then I don't know if there's contractual obligations that they need X number of time off between seasons, and any of that back then, because again, TV was way different back in the late 80s and early 90s. But those are some of my theories as to what may have led them to do this, and not just do this, but do it when they did. Because, yeah, really nothing about this episode worked.
So do you want to know the reason?
Yeah.
Um, let me ask a more general question. Why would a show do a clip show at any point in their run? What would drive that?
They just either out of ideas or they're just not. I don't know, maybe footage was lost or something happened that they had an episode that fell apart, or
So in this case, and
or they didn't have enough of the people contracted for a full episode. So kind of like a bottle episode, they just had to do something with what they had.
you're closer with that.
Yeah.
They had a contracted number of episodes that they needed to do for the season. In this case, it was 22.
Hmm.
But the reason why this episode came to be is that they went so far over
Over
budget
budget.
on Q Who that they didn't have enough money to make a season finale. So they made a clip show. And that's where this episode came to be. You basically use a handful of characters for a few minutes, and
Yep.
you show a bunch of clips and you wrap a story around it and you call it a day.
Hmm.
So I gave this a 2. I refuse to give it credit for using clips from episodes that are better. Mediocre, good, excellent, whatever. There's no creative excellence there. They
No.
they took a bunch of clips and wrapped a shitty story around it and called it an episode.
Yeah.
They even they realized that it was a shitty episode. Um, the trivia on this is Shades of Grey is often considered the worst episode of Next Generation, and even the producers admitted they were embarrassed by it.
Yeah.
So I don't have a whole lot on this episode. There's a
No.
reason I said we could do 4
Yep.
this right because
Yeah.
there's just
And I'm with you. So I try to avoid seeing the ratings before I watch it as much as I can. But I
yep
did see that this one on IMDb was rated like 3.3 or something just
yep
abysmal.
yeah.
So I try to not let that influence me. And then as I'm watching it and I see Riker sitting there and he's got his cut or whatever, I'm just like, okay, where's this gonna go that turns it so shitty? And that's when I was just like, he called for Tasha? Where does
Yeah.
Beard? Oh. And then immediately, once I wrote, "Is this a clip show?" I was just like, "Yeah, that's why people think this is a shitty episode." But
So for this
again,
one,
for all my hatred of Star Trek that I've been accused of earlier in this episode, uh, I, I still couldn't bring myself to say it was worse than a 4.
that's shocking to me. I didn't take a lot of
I
notes.
mean, I would rather watch this than the Paradise Syndrome or whatever the hell the stupid ass episode of the original series was, where they just killed Kirk's wife at the end.
At least this one I can just let play in the background.
Yeah.
So I instead of taking notes for this one, I started a stopwatch. And my stopwatch was how much original content was in this episode. And I had a guess going into it, and my guess was a little low, but not significantly low. Would you care to guess? It's a 45-minute episode.
So 45 minutes. You said they started the first clip 14 and change into it.
How many minutes of original
After
content were there?
so we're starting with the baseline of what 1430, we'll say, was
Yep.
about where it was.
1440 is where the
14,
first.
okay,
Yep.
1440. I'm gonna say it's under 17.
Okay.
Because
You're
after
still,
they started the clips, there was almost nothing original.
you're still a little low, but not by much.
Okay.
It was about 23 minutes and 41 seconds.
Okay. Oh, so
That's
more than half of the episode is new.
53%, just barely more than half. But what that means is about half the episode was actual plot developing content
Which was
versus
still
just
really,
it was a
which
half an hour episode.
they can do a lot in 23 minutes in any other show. As
Yep,
we
and they didn't
saw
do that
with
here.
the first 2 episodes of the animated series.
Yep.
The
So I
rest
laughed
of the animated series was not good.
so I laughed really hard. This is related but not related. Because again, I have nothing to talk about with this episode. Um, it's just dumb. But I laughed really hard because this Thursday is the season premiere of Lower Decks season 5. So Lower Decks is the animated series that they're running right now,
Yeah.
not the kids one. This is the Mike
Yep.
McMahon, the guy from Rick and Morty, is
Yep.
a showrunner for Lower Decks. So it was very funny to me because um all their promotional material, like they've been releasing posters for the season. They've been
Yeah.
leaning in really hard on Star Trek 5. So their poster for this season looks like the poster from Star Trek 5, um, which was super funny. And then I found out today, literally an hour before we started recording this, that I think it's episode 2. It happened so quickly, I haven't had a chance to dig into it. But the second episode of season 5 is called Shades of Green. And I'm like, that's very funny considering that last episode we did Star Trek 5, and then this episode we're doing Shades of Gray. And they used
And
those references leading into the series. I'm now curious to know how all of that's going to factor into it because they
yeah.
do deliberately. Nothing in that show is an accident.
Yeah.
So, it just made me laugh.
Yeah.
And literally the only thing I have to add to this shitty episode.
Yeah. Now, what is your opinion on clip shows generally?
So I admittedly can't think of a lot of shows that have done clip shows. Like you mentioned The Office, and now I do kind of remember that.
All old sitcoms.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that Everybody Loves Raymond clip show. I think my general feeling is I find them all to be kind of throwaway episodes.
Yeah.
They
I mean,
for similar reasons, right?
yeah.
So I don't, outside of this episode, I don't love them. I don't hate them. They're, to use Abby's line, I kind of nothing them.
Yeah.
Nobody expects that they're going to win an Emmy, right? I mean, it's just
Right.
they have to do something.
And there are
So,
plenty of times when I've gone through and rewatched The Office and we just skipped the banker episode because, yeah, we binge watched it. So it's like, oh, yeah, we saw all these episodes in the last 4 weeks.
they're already,
So whatever. But it's again, I think of it in terms of those shows when they're in season 5 or 6 and you're 100 or 120 episodes into the series. It's a bit different
Mhm.
when now if you've been watching them, but it's been years since you've seen a season 2 episode and
Yeah.
you see that clip that's just like, oh yeah, I remember that. That's so
Yep.
good.
Yeah.
And there is that nostalgia. There's not enough time to have the nostalgia here.
No.
Which is why again, it's just like it just doesn't work. But the whole budgetary thing, you know, if I had to take the episode Q Who and this one over two just okay episodes, I'd probably do that because Q Who was that good.
And that was kind of my thought as we were starting to talk about this. You were talking about how great Q Who was. Q Who. Good Lord, how great Q Who was. And that was the thought that kind of rolled through the back of my brain was sometimes in order to have a really, really great episode, you have to have a really, really bad one. Like you have to have balance. Things have to offset. And from that regard, yes, I agree. I will take this episode being really bad so that I can have Q Who.
Yeah.
It just
Now I don't know if I fully agree that you have to have a bad episode to counteract a great one like that. Because could this episode have been good? Potentially. Now, is it likely? I'm talking ideal world. You have somebody that can work up a story and say, hey, we can tell a compelling story with 23 minutes of original content, and we can wrap in all
right.
these other things to make that story happen and still make our advertisers happy and not alienate our fan base. Because yeah, so
And
so so to say we have to have a bad one, I don't agree. It makes sense that we have a bad one.
I, I guess I would
Fully agree.
rephrase that as in general,
Yeah,
you
in
get a
gen
bad
yeah,
episode.
yes. But with enough time, I would like to think that somebody could have written a good story around this that makes it a compelling reason to be seeing these clips and have that kind of nostalgia to it. And again, maybe that would never work in a second season. Um, but I can't imagine this episode ended and people were just like, man, I can't wait for the next season to start.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I get, you have to
It
make it
it totally
right,
makes sense.
but it should have ended like if you'd said that peak performance was the season
Yeah.
finale,
They
I
should
would,
have played should they shifted episodes around in previous seasons.
yeah,
They
they should have
they
flipped
shift
this.
them around all the time. That happens all the time. So, let's see. Yeah, I mean this one, it looks like this season was almost entirely just in production order. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, okay. I mean, yeah, this would have been much more palatable, I think, if it wasn't the season finale.
So, and then
Still not great, but
I missed this trivia earlier. I'll run through some of this, but it did say that this is also necessitated by the writer's strike. So you called that out earlier.
yeah,
They shortened it from 26 to 22 episodes. So it was budgetary and writer's strike.
yeah,
So that makes sense.
yeah.
So 50th anniversary Star Trek convention in Las Vegas in August 2016. Fans voted this the fifth worst episode of the entire franchise.
I could see that.
I could see that too.
And I think I was deliberately kind to this episode.
That's fair.
I mean, because I have a hard time saying, what is it? What is the ratings? One is unwatchable, two is painful. And
Yep.
again, it's like I have a hard time saying too much bad about it when it's filled with clips of otherwise decent episodes with a few stinkers in there. But even then pulled maybe some of the better parts of some of the episodes. I don't know. But I guess one of the last thoughts I have, and then we can probably call it a night, seeing as
Yep.
it's now 11:15. Um, I think I said even when we watched Encounter at Farpoint, the way that was shot, the way it was done, the way that story was told, who did I say I would pick if I had to say this show was quote unquote about somebody?
Riker.
Riker. Not
No.
about Picard. You think it's about the captain if you look at it at first, but
Mhm.
I mean, that would seem to be the case here.
Yep.
Um, I mean, he
Definitely the
was
main
the focal point.
character.
Everything in this episode was about him. Um,
But it also couldn't be about Picard because Picard doesn't go on away missions.
usually.
Yes, normally, in most cases,
Yes.
right?
But just I mean, they could have told some other shitty story to get this about Picard.
Sure,
Um,
they could have. You're not wrong.
but again, I just made that was kind of a throwaway thought I had late in it. Where I was just like, I mean, this kind of fits that theory that I had that this show is not necessarily about Picard as it might seem at first glance, but is really about Riker.
Right. I
Like
don't disagree. If
I've
you're gonna pick one character, it probably
right.
is.
And with the qualifier that yes, it's clearly an ensemble. They all have their focused episodes, but
Yep.
yeah, if I had to pick one, that's who I'd say. And like I think I've said it before too. It's like if you watch have you ever watched Community?
Only a couple episodes.
Okay. Well, if you watch it, you probably your gut reaction might be to say the series is about Jeff, Joel McHale's character,
Yep.
when really I think the show is about Abed. But again, just something kind of like that. But
Yep.
yeah, shitty episode to have as a season finale. Makes sense that that's why they had it, and looking forward to season 3 in
Yeah.
spite of that.
Yeah.
So
Let's get after. Sounds
so
perfect.
I can't believe I've watched as much Star Trek in my life as I have now.
Get you.
Uh,
Hooked.
it's great. I love it. I know despite what Abby thinks, I hate it. I really do. I have loved doing this and talking about it, watching it. And even when I'm watching these episodes like like the Emissary that I was a little I'll say I was underwhelmed by it. Um
Yep.
and I'll rewatch that one and come back. Maybe I'll add some epilogue to this podcast and say, here's what I learned that I was totally right. Um, but
Right. You get on, yeah, just like Trouble with Trolls, right?
yep. Hey, I did shift my rating on that one.
You did.
But yeah, it's I even when I kind of am ambivalent towards an episode or just kind of whatever, I still am loving watching this and then talking about it. And I was talking with my aunt Jody about this and saying there's a difference between passively watching something and actively watching it.
For
I
sure.
mean, there are times where I'm still kind of passively watching it if I've got something else that's a bigger priority than watching a single episode. But even then, I'm still actively thinking about this and deconstructing some of what we're seeing and trying to break down the story and truly think through what is it about these episodes that I do or don't like or just have nothing for. Um, and that's a fun experience. I really like doing that. And it brings a different level of appreciation to the show than I ever thought I would have had.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
just by breaking it down, not just, oh yeah, I loved watching something as a kid. I've seen the episodes a bunch of times, so I know them inside and out. I'm not at that point, but I am actively watching it and yeah,
Yeah.
like even when I don't care for the episode, I'm still loving it.
Well, I'll leave you with a parting thought. I think we've found the name for the episode. It is sufficiently clickbaity, and it is called Aaron Hates Star Trek.
I love it. Let me
So
make that note so I don't forget it.
kind of like Leonard Nimoy writing a book called I Am
Yep.
Not. Um,
I'm still so disappointed. I saw that online for sale from a local used bookstore for like $25
Oh,
last summer, and I
yeah.
did not order it. And this used bookstore, they have a location downtown Jacksonville, and I go there almost every day. I'm at the office just to go see if there's anything new. And that's
Yep.
where I bought most of my collection of Star Trek books as it is today. I almost picked up. It was almost like a binder,
Mhm.
but Star Trek like technical manual, and they had it for like $10. And in there it had like uniform information, including a like basically patterns to make the
Oh,
uniforms.
no way.
So I may have to go back and just buy that
I
because it
wonder
was
if they
ten
have,
bucks.
if that's the same tech manual that I have,
Yeah.
which is,
Now it wasn't in that leather thing, but it was in like a almost a binder
yeah.
hardcover material. But yeah, I saw it and I wondered too if that was what you had gotten. But Abby, oh, I gotta show you quick before we sign off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Abby, you were on the picture, or she
Uh-huh.
sent the picture to you. The book of just cards. So each
It's awesome.
original series episode has like 3 cards for it.
And they look
And
like they were in good condition based on the picture she sent.
yeah. And I would say all told, this is missing maybe 15 cards
Oh,
from the entire collection. But yeah, I was kind of like, oh, that's fun. Something
that's really neat.
just silly to have.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
all right. It's late. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I gotta be up early. So
Yeah. Go to bed. I'll talk to you later.
yeah, sounds good. Bye. Well, there you go. During the discussion, I shared my observations on society's relationship with greatness. I have put an inordinate amount of thought into this topic. But whether it's Tom Brady, Bill Belichick and the Patriots, or Tiger Woods, or the New York Yankees, or Lance Armstrong, or any individual or team that dominates their sport for an extended time, there seems to be a point where society turns on them. They succeed long enough to see themselves become the villain. I wonder, though, if it's so much antipathy towards greatness, but balancing the love of greatness with support for the underdog. I mean, nobody really reads the Bible and is on Team Goliath, right? So we love the up and coming Davids, but turn on them when they become Goliath. This has got me thinking a bit about tennis. Now, I'd consider myself a casual tennis fan, and I don't have much of a rooting interest in any given match. But there have been some dominant figures in tennis over the past 20 years. Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, and they're now giving way to Alcaraz and Sinner. Maybe I'm too casual a fan, but I don't recall any of them receiving the type of vitriol as, say, Tiger Woods during his downfall. But I wonder if that's because all of them were dominant somewhat collectively over the past, at this point, decades. I honestly don't know. I just feel like as a society, we want to seem like we appreciate greatness, but we also treat sustained greatness as Goliath and want to see it taken down, with extra points if it can be done by a true underdog. In a way, it's almost natural. Witnessing greatness to an extent exposes our own shortcomings, and being forced to confront our own shortcomings is uncomfortable, at best. So we try to downplay it. They got lucky, or they must have cheated. We also want to see good competition, though, so constant dominance can get boring. It's not always a compelling story, which feels like a great segue to the last topic of the week. We are done with Season 2 of Next Generation, in which we have witnessed some of the best stories Star Trek has had yet. But with those great stories comes some real stinkers. I still feel a 7 is about right for this season. Season 2 was definitely an improvement over Season 1, which fits my general feeling that we are on an upward trajectory, going the opposite direction relative to the original series. It feels like the best is still yet to come. Still, like the original series though, it feels greater than the sum of its parts. And I think that's a good place to call it for Season 2. So if you're watching along with us, next time we will kick off Season 3 with Evolution, the Ensigns of Command, and the Survivors. As always, I want to thank you for spending your time listening to our conversations about Star Trek. If you enjoy what we're doing, please do us a favor and share with a friend. Also, leave us a rating and a review on your favorite podcast app. You can find us on X at Baldly Go Podcast, To Baldly Go Podcast on Facebook, and to baldlygopodcast.com. You can also find me at aaronemery.net. Nate and I have another podcast, The In-Lap, in which we discuss the current Formula One season. Listen to The In-Lap in your favorite podcast app. For Abby and Nate, this is Aaron reminding you to never give up, never surrender.
This was basically the Star Trek V of next gen episodes.